object.
What's going on, y'all? Attorney Tom here. Today we are going to be reacting to the 2014 deposition of Justin Bieber. Now, nothing in the video description says what this case is about, so we'll find out together. Make sure you stick around to the end where I will give Justin a grade on how I think he did. Let's get started.
Remember earlier today when I asked you?
No.
Why don't you listen to what I had to say first? And then maybe you'll tell me yes or no.
I don't have to listen to anything you have to say.
Actually, Justin, you absolutely have to listen to what he has to say. That is the purpose of a deposition, to sit you down and ask you questions under oath. And you have a good faith obligation to reply to those questions. And if you don't act in good faith, a couple things are going to happen. Either they are going to call the judge and maybe get you sanctioned, and you will be giving a deposition again until you answer the questions, and or the lawyers are going to take the clips of you being uncooperative and being a dick and play them at the trial, in which you will look way worse and it will probably hurt your case. Now, before we keep going, I know a lot of time has passed and this was 2014 Justin Bieber, and people grow and mature. So I'm grading 2014 Justin Bieber, okay? Let's keep going.
My question. If you have a question about my question, you have the right to be clear for you to be able to be clear. You remember being in Australia ever?
I don't know if I've been to Australia. I've been to Australia?
Are you aware that Scooter Braun knows that your bodyguards have attacked photographers?
What objection to form?
What kind of question is that? That didn't make sense.
That was kind of a poorly worded question.
That didn't make sense.
Now, a lot of people in the comments might be typing something like, oh, that's hearsay. Why don't you ask Scooter Braun? Remember, the rules of evidence don't apply when you are in a deposition. When you are in a deposition, you are trying to find evidence that potentially could be used in court or could otherwise potentially be discoverable.
I've been to Australia. So
it doesn't matter that that question was definitely hearsay and wouldn't be allowed in a trial itself. Now, we heard something about security guards attacking a photographer. So that is probably what I'm guessing this case is about.
That's correct.
That doesn't make sense. That's a weird question. That doesn't make sense.
Can you just ask some foundation?
I didn't hear your response. Again, sir, I
didn't finish.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't want to interrupt.
Oh, really? You didn't want to interrupt.
Is it true that you know that your security guards will punch, grab, and push paps if they need to?
I object.
Justin, you cannot object. You cannot object. If anything, that objection is going to basically imply guilt because you're not answering because you know the answer to that.
I object.
Now, what's interesting is when I was in law school, I clerked at a law firm during the summer, and we had a case very similar to this. We sued a very famous person slash athletes because their security guards basically beat the shit out of somebody. I remember working on this case. Our client was seriously and permanently disfigured and injured from the interaction. Now, getting back to this case, I imagine this lawyer's asking this line of questioning because he wants to get down to the issue of notice. Did Justin Bieber know his bodyguards were beating people up? And more so than that, did he implicitly or expressly give them authority to beat people up who were invading the security bubble? And this line of questioning is really important because when you are somebody's bodyguard, you're acting as their agent. And if the bodyguards had a history of going from place to place, incident after incident of causing unnecessary harm, well, the person who they are protecting, the boss, Justin Bieber, could very well be on the hook for their actions, because by him not stepping up or changing procedures, how things are done, it could just cause unnecessary violence. Now, what's important for y'all to understand is what I am not saying is that bodyguards cannot use force across the board. That is not true, especially if somebody poses a real threat. But if you respond disproportionately to a threat and that disproportionate response gets somebody really, really, really hurt, well, there could be legal liabilities.
Would you please look at the film that's up there? Go ahead and start.
This is a film.
Please, sir.
This is a film.
Pause it. Would you please watch the television?
You said it's a film. You said watch the film. Is this a film?
Is there a difference between a film and something else?
Yes.
So yes or no?
2014 Justin, man, you're being a jerk. Just let it go.
Answer required, right?
I think my lawyer's asking you a question.
Please, sir.
I think my lawyer's asking you a question.
I'm not here to answer his questions. You're here to answer mine. Have you ever disciplined Mr. Hesney?
Disciplined. What kind of question is that? Is he my son?
Actually, he is your employee, or at the very least, he is your agent. So absolutely, you should discipline somebody if they act out of line. For instance, if my editor acted out of line, I certainly would discipline him. But yeah, 2014 Justin, that answer isn't going to hold up. You're responsible for the people that you employ or that are agents of you.
Guess what?
Question?
Guess what? I don't recall.
You're not going off the video record, or has that been
You got Selena Gomez?
Yes.
Were you dating her at some point in time?
What's the relevance of that? Why are you asking that question?
Because I'm allowed to ask.
No, you're not allowed to just make up stuff and
Absolutely.
ask it. What are you talking
It
about?
sounds like you're trying to harass him.
Be a lawyer, man.
Stop making
Journalism.
statements
This
that you
isn't journalism.
What?
Very interesting. So, like I said before, in a deposition, you are allowed to ask all questions that you believe in good faith will lead to something discoverable. It doesn't actually have to be something that can be used in evidence in a trial, but as long as you think it will lead to something that can be used in evidence. So you cannot just ask about anything ever. Like I said, you need to have that good faith argument that it will lead to something in discovery. So if you're the defense lawyer and you believe the plaintiff lawyer is asking a line of questioning that is improper or irrelevant, you need to voice an objection, and you can go as far as getting the judge on the phone to rule on the matter. But like I said, there's a very broad scope of discovery or what you can ask during a deposition, so that is a very hard argument to win. But nonetheless, the defense lawyer probably still should make that objection, even if it's just to mess up the plaintiff lawyer's flow. Momentum is a very real thing in depositions.
What's your pro
Have
offer?
you ever?
What's your
If
pro
you have an
offer?
objection, state your objection.
What's your pro offer of relevance on that?
Sir, have you ever talked with Selena Gomez and discussed your feelings about paparazzis with her?
This is more just about the lawyering because I find it interesting. Notice how the plaintiff lawyer just completely ignored the defense lawyer. That's okay. I do that all the time because, like I said, defense lawyer's job is to mess with you. A lot of times their objections are totally BS. So you just have to keep going and doing your own thing.
Don't ask me about her again.
Sir.
Move on to another.
Have you ever?
Don't ask me about her
Have you
again.
ever
Don't
discussed?
ask me about her again.
Have you ever?
Don't ask me about her again.
discussed your feelings
Don't
with
ask me.
Selena
Don't ask me about her again.
Wait,
About
let's take a break.
You know what? Just stop it.
gotta take a break.
Don't ask me about her again.
Your client's not asking for a break.
Don't ask me about her again.
I'm sorry, 2014 Justin, but you don't have the authority to make those sort of demands.
I object.
And honestly, from the plaintiff lawyer's perspective, if I'm the plaintiff's lawyer, I'm thinking, wow, I'm getting him unsettled and out of his comfort zone. He's probably going to say some things that are good for my case at this point.
Let's take a break, Justin.
Video record is 302.
Objection.
Did I say something funny?
You don't need to argue with the witness. Do you want to state your question again?
Is there anything funny in my question as to why you were laughing?
What is your question? Should we have it read back? Let's have it.
Well, I don't know, Katie Kirk. You tell me.
Are you calling me Katie Kirk?
No.
Is this a news interview for you? Because it's not. It's your deposition. Do you understand that?
Yes. But I see what you're doing.
Have you ever spoken with Scooter Braun regarding photographers who want to take a picture of?
Asked and answered several times.
That one was not asked or answered.
That was definitely asked before that question. It was a
What was your
different
answer? Please, remind me of your answer.
No. It seems like a 16-minute interview.
You get career. Do you know Raymond Usher IV?
No.
Do you know an individual, an entertainer by the name of Usher?
Yeah, Usher. That sounds familiar.
Didn't Usher discover Justin Bieber? Y'all, listen. I get it. The last place you ever want to be is in a deposition. It sucks, especially if you're the deponent. Actually, pretty much only if you're the deponent, because it's the lawyer's job to be there. But if you're a deponent in a deposition, do not be a smartass on the painfully obvious questions. The best thing you can do is own them and be polite. I promise you it will pay dividends down the line. So if you know Usher, just say, yeah, I know Usher. You don't need to be a smart aleck and say,
Usher. That sounds familiar.
And obviously that applies across the board to other questions as well. And anybody who might be watching this who will someday be a deponent.
Isn't it true that Usher was instrumental in starting your career?
What does that have to do with this litigation, Mr. DeKalb? This is just you trying to harass the client.
Before we came back here, you had asked me.
She's going to read
Let
that.
her read back the question. Thank you for your memory.
Is it true that Usher was very instrumental in starting your career? That was the last question.
I was found on YouTube. I think that I was detrimental to my own career.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you at all. I'm sitting right next to you. Okay,
He said, I think I was instrumental to
let
my
me
own
hear back
career.
from the court reporter.
Instrument.
Said I think I was instrumental to my own career.
Thank you, sir. But my question was Usher, was he helpful to your professional career?
Yes.
Is Usher a close friend of yours?
Yes.
Is Usher a confidant?
Okay, so those deposition clips ended rather abruptly, but I think we get the gist. Now, like I said before, this was 2014 Justin, so I'm going to cut him some slack. This is certainly not the Justin Bieber of today, or at least I hope not. I actually don't know Justin Bieber, believe it or not. Giving Justin Bieber a grade. 2014 Justin Bieber gets an F, and he gets a knowledge hammer. Don't be a jerk. Don't be a jerk in your deposition. That's kind of what the lawyers want you to do, because it makes you look like a total ass, and it probably makes their case better. So for anybody watching this, the takeaway from this deposition is don't be an ass if you're being deposed. It will not help you. Okay, that's it. Thank you guys so much for watching. My goal is always to make content worthy of your time. Talk to you later. Bye.
He's a catastrophic injury attorney who accidentally became a YouTuber. Attorney Tom.
I object.